Live. So it says. I will take that as my cue. Let us see. Got a couple things I need to do here. People are joining. Stand by. Let me know if you are joining, if you can hear me. If this is working. I don't know, but we shall see. All right. Audio's good. Hello, Austin. Hello, Michael. And Allison. Hail, I can hear you. Great. Hello, Dean. Hail and welcome, everybody. Let me just go ahead and just share this link around. Can you see me all right? Does everything look good? We're straight. Everything's copacetic, as they say. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of multitasking here, folks, because there's a lot of stuff going on tonight. I have to actually keep an eye on the chat because I'm using an external streaming service or whatever. I got to keep an eye on the chat. That way I can react with you folks. But anyways, before we get started, hail and welcome to the COVID-19 quarantine live stream, part 2, part whatever we are in. Hail and skull to everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Great to see everybody. Thank you so much. I got some meat here in my horn, and I'm going to be doing a few different things here. Thanks, Ragnarok, that says looks and sounds good. Thank you, Dean, says this is so cool. This is really cool. All right, folks, you guys are here with me right now, and a lot of us are under quarantine, right? We're sitting down, hunkered down, on lockdown, whatever it is. And what else are we going to do, right? Sit here, chat, talk about different things. So I've actually got a few things lined up for us tonight for as long as everybody wants to say, or for as long as anybody wants to stay. I've got some rune sets I'm going to be working on. I've got a rune set that I'm going to be working on. These are all driftwood pieces, unfinished, untouched driftwood pieces. I got to start working on them, and I'm going to be doing that. And then probably sometime during this live stream, I'm going to be reading to you from this book right here. It's Asgard Stories. It's a Foster and Cummings publication. This book is about 100 or plus years old. Comes to me from a very good friend of mine, my heathen brother. So shout out to Dingo. Dingo may be on here later, not sure. Hail Odin, Dean, indeed. So this book here, guys, I'm going to be reading to you from it later on. I've read a story on one of my videos here on the channel a while back, and this is a very special gift of mine, from a brother of mine, heathen brother of mine. He's actually my Gothi, and the Gothi are the Hlyridi folk here in Middle Tennessee. So the Hlyridi folk tribe is the tribe that I am myself and my Gothi, who is Dingo, and our law speaker, his name's Patrick, looking to build our heathen tribe here in Middle Tennessee. And those three are the core members of our tribe. And Dingo gave me this book as a birthday present some time back. So we're going to be reading from that at some point. But first of all, I've got to start off here with starting this rune set. So I'm going to go ahead and just remind everybody to please, you see it coming along the screen right here, subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Very difficult to say 3 times, 9 times fast, whatever. Not a fast speaker. And you know what? I've also forgotten something. I'm going to have to do something real quick because I know I'm going to be sitting here for a while. And if I don't have what I'm seeing across the way there to get, there might be hell to pay. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to step out of frame for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Matter of fact, let me just count. 1, Mississippi, 2, Mississippi, 3, Mississippi. I'm back in frame more or less. 3 seconds, 3-4 seconds, maybe 5 tops, depending on how fast. This is what I was going for, guys, because like I said, I'm going to be sitting here doing what I'm doing, talking with you for that length of time, and got to have my vape. Call me whatever you want. I don't smoke in my house. I do smoke a pipe, tobacco pipe, but I don't smoke in the house. So that's where we are. Already subscribed. Thank you, Dean. Share it around, guys. Share this live video. If you have anybody that you know of, share the stream that you're watching this on through YouTube. Obviously, you're watching through YouTube, so go ahead and share the link to everybody. I want to get all kinds of people in here. So far, I've got I don't know. It says 5. Can't really be sure. That may be right. So let's go ahead and get started working on this rune set. And you guys, if you have any questions, want to ask me anything as I work through this, as I start this process, let me know and I will respond. We are on lockdown. A lot of us are. Everybody's sitting at home. And I figured, it's a good time to get some projects knocked out, to get some conversation going, get to know one another. I do these rune sets. The one that I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact, is a commission piece for a fella local to my area. Thank you, Austin, for subscribing, reading your comment. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Tobacco is bad for you. Smoke weed. Tobacco is not actually bad for you. It's the nicotine and all the processed stuff. Because I smoke a pipe. I smoke a tobacco pipe, so I'm not like inhaling all that. But marijuana, definitely, yes. Weed is good. I know a lot of folks, my father included, who use marijuana for medical purposes, and just overall, it helps you cope with a lot of different things, whether it be pain, whether it be psychological, whatever. I'm a definite advocate for that, and I wish the federal government would go ahead and just, put that nail in the coffin and just legalize it. I know a lot of states have already done so. Unfortunately, the federal government tends to be the way they are, and that hasn't happened yet. So until it does, you guys just be careful. But I'm definitely an advocate for the use of marijuana. I've used it in my own ritual work, and I've it's helped me get into that ritual state of mind. I'll put it that way, right? Yeah, all the chemicals they put in the tobacco now, they will hurt you. All that processed garbage. Anything that's packaged or big tobacco, right? I actually get pipe tobacco, so it's just the tobacco leaves, and it's absolutely delicious, and it's a wonderful relaxing experience, and I enjoy it. So in the nicer weather, I might have a scotch or a whiskey, sit outside of my porch, smoke a pipe, enjoy the aroma and the flavor and the full bodiness of tobacco. It's definitely a part of my here and there extracurricular activities. I really appreciate everybody watching this video and joining me on this live stream. I know I don't do these a lot, but I figure since we are a lot of us on lockdown and quarantine right now, that it would be a good time to spend time with one another. Feel free to ask me any questions. So far, the live chat right now says a total of 10 live viewers. Love it. Thank you so much. Right down here, if you are new to the channel, as you see right down here, says subscribe to Midgard Musings. And then right up here, if I can get this thing right, see that logo? If you look for that logo, if I'm pointing at it right, if you look for that logo, that is our Midgard Musings bind rune, okay? All of my videos, everything that you see on Facebook, I don't really do the Instagram thing. There's an Instagram account, but I don't manage it, and nobody really does it anymore. It exists, but nothing's really been done with it. But Facebook and YouTube, and I really am pushing to get the YouTube thing like full-blown hardcore up and running. So if you don't mind, guys, share the channel information, share the video information. Ask me anything that you guys want to ask. My most recent video was actually uploaded today. If you guys haven't seen it, just head over to my, the channel information and check out my most recent video. It was a sort of a promotional video for a really awesome company, Heathens Greetings US. J.M. Olafson, who runs that company over in the Blue Mountains, Appalachia Range, over on the east side of the country, North Carolina area is where he's from. Handcrafted, handmade, heathen made. Wonderful person, wonderful guy. Love him to death, and fully support his company, Heathens Greetings US. So check out my most recent video. The one before that is, let me just say hello here to Dean says, yep, helps with glaucoma. Marijuana does. Says grow your own smoke. If you absolutely are able to, I encourage that and would support what you're saying for sure. Ozark of Valhalla. Got to go tend to your goats. Peace. Go tend to your goats. Awesome stuff. We'll be here. Runes are what we should be studying right now. Yes, as a matter of fact, Dean, good point, because I am currently working on a rune set. So as I get done with the first set, the first et, okay, which is going to be Fehu, Urus, Lurisas, Ansus, Raido, Kenas, Gabo, and Wunyo, the first 8 of the Elder Futhark set of et. I will show you my progress. I'm only going to be burning the runes into the pieces. I'm not going to be doing my finishing or shading of them as of right now. But that we'll talk about them. You know, I think it would be an awesome thing to talk about as I work on them. It's very, very important time to get into our heathen spirituality, and runes are definitely a part of that. I think a lot of heathens would agree. If you guys haven't yet, check out my video series, the 9 pieces of it, wherein I took about a 9-week-long study of 3 different runes each week. So it was a 9-week-long thing. I did 3 different runes each week, and it was a really fun time. So check out that series if you haven't. If you go to my channel right now and just go to the playlist section, you'll see a playlist that says 9 pieces of it. Which one's the next one here that I'm going to use? Yeah, I think that's the one. You'll see the cool thing about the runes, guys, is that the runes have their own intrinsic meanings. Things that they are recognized and known for. Their value, whatever that may be. Definitely, we'll be talking about the lore, Dean, for sure. Because, like I said before, I've got this book in between our rune set that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be reading from this book for you guys, and we're going to be reading some stories from lore. So this is a really neat book. It's about 100, or actually over 100 years old. I'll get into that here in probably within the hour or so. But as I was saying, the cool thing about the runes, right, is that yes, they all have their own individual like intrinsic value, things that they're known for. But when it comes to reading the runes, each person who reads the runes, each you call Vitki or rune master, whoever you deal with for your rune readings, whoever looks at the runes, whoever reads the runes, are going to interpret different things about the meaning of the runes that are cast and that are drawn or that are being worked with at the time. So it's really awesome to get into it. I definitely would encourage anybody who is inspired to get into, you know, working with the runes and reading the runes. Do so cautiously but enthusiastically, because once you're in it, like, you're in it to win it. Once you hang from that tree and once you get that knowledge, it's a part of you and it becomes who you are and what you do. Right now I've got about a total of 8 people watching. On using the Elder Food Arc, Dean, this is what I'm doing right now, and this is the most popular set that I've done. I actually haven't burned a Younger Food Arc or Anglo-Saxon Food Arc or Frisian Food Arc or any of the other variations of the runes that exist throughout history. Most of what I do, actually all of what I've done thus far, has been Elder Food Arc, but I will do commission pieces. So if anybody's out here watching and wants to reach out to me for, you know, Younger Food Arc runes or anything like that, please send me an email. My email is midgardmusingstn, and that's TN like the state, Tennessee, midgardmusingstn @gmail.com. And I'm happy to do a Younger Food Arc set for you, or an Anglo-Saxon rune set, if that's your inclination, if that's what you want. I do birch right now, currently, and driftwood. Okay, so these are driftwood pieces. They are all similarly shaped and sized. They have some various aesthetic differences, but they are all pretty much this oblong, kind of oval-looking piece of wood. And then what I end up doing is, as you will see, as I will burn the runes into it, I'm going to show you guys throughout this video, this live stream. I'm going to burn the rune into here, and then maybe not during this live stream, but in the next one or something, I will shade around it and give it a very ancient texture, ancient look, burned look. It's really cool. If you go to my Facebook page, which is, you know, just Midgard Musings over there on Facebook, you will see a bunch of images that I've uploaded to that site of finished rune sets for clients. A lot of people like them. And this one's going to somebody here locally in the Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee area. So appreciate all of your support for that. We're going to get into it here in just a moment. Let me take a swig of this mead and we'll get onto it. So what are you guys drinking tonight? What are you guys doing right now? Tell me down below. First of all, or including what you're doing tonight, whatever you're obviously watching me live. Let me know what you guys got going on in your horns, in your mugs, in your glasses. What are you drinking? What are you doing? And where are you? Go ahead and check in during the live chat down below. Let me know, where in the world are you? Where in the Midgard are you checking in from? Stuff's so good. Austin says, actually have an app that shows the English alphabet with runes above each letter. Have to study every aspect of the runes to grow, and it is a start. Austin, a lot of the apps that are out there that show the English equivalents to the Germanic runes, in this instance Elder Food Arc runes, you have to be a bit cautious with that, because we can't accurately translate Elder Food Arc runes into modern English, and here's why. Right, the Elder Food Arc are a series of letters, alphabets, whatever, that were used to write in and speak in Proto-Germanic, which predates Old Norse. Okay, Old Norse, which is what the language of the Vikings, right? During the Viking Age, the language that was documented, the prose Edda, the Poetic Edda, all the stories of lore. That language was, around between the 9 and 1200s. So you're talking about a language that, in that language, Old Norse was written in Younger Food Arc, which has even less runes. So the Younger Food Arc comes from Elder Food Arc, but Elder Food Arc was written or was used to write and speak in Proto-Germanic, which predates, like I said, the Old Norse written and spoken language. So what you have to be careful of is you obviously can't, you can phonetically kind of spell out words. It's just not going to really make a whole bunch of literal sense from a linguistic standpoint. because certain of the runes have phonetic value, right? The Fehu rune has the F sound, like F as in Frank or F as in fire truck. The Urus rune has the, the U sound, the soft U sound, as you would see in, like, I don't know, under or umbrella. The Thurus or Thurisas rune has a very, very soft TH combination. So whereas in English you have a T and an H to make the th sound, Thurisas, as in thunder or Thor, makes that sound already. So what we see sometimes happening is that there are people who will use the T or Tiwaz rune and the H or Hagalaz rune to make a TH th sound, and that doesn't make sense because it's almost like you're looking at two separate letters and going t. Doesn't make sense. So you got to watch out and be careful of that. You can't use ancient Germanic runes to speak in modern English. It just can't be done. Let me read some of the comments before I'm waiting for my wood burner to heat up so that I can burn this first set of it as we go along. Start where you feel is right. Thanks, Dean. Ragnaroki, Florida here. Hello, welcome. Where do I get the wood for my runes, and do I go out and collect it myself? So I have to source my material from like hobby stores and things like that, because the residential and suburban area that I live in doesn't allow me to locally source the materials. So I make do with the best that I can do from, local project stores, craft stores, things like that, things that I'm able to acquire. Unfortunately, right now, my position is I don't have land that I can harvest wood from, although I would love to. And so that's where I get my material. Birch is great. It is one of my favorite pieces of wood to work with, and it is probably the most popular set that I have sold. Is birch wood. The UP of Michigan. Dean, do you guys still have snow up that far? I know a lot of folks who I know that are on the upper east, northeast coast, like Vermont, still getting snow. Are you guys up there in the UP? Are you still getting snow this time of year? If so, stay safe. Hail from Ontario. Hello, Jake. Jake, our first commenter tonight in the live stream. Got 12 live viewers going. Hail and welcome to Jake, our first live commenter international, guys. Yes, you are still in North America, but you were in Canada from Ontario. So hail and welcome. Thank you for joining the live stream. Really appreciate it. I am doing a live wood burning. I've got some driftwood rune sets that I'm working on. I'm going to be reading to you guys tonight a little bit from the, it's a book called Asgard Stories. Really cool take on, it's about 100+ years old version of some stories. Going to be starting off that here in a little while. So stick around. Going to be burning some runes, going to be reading some from the Lord. It's going to be really awesome. So hail, Jake. Thank you for tuning in and watching from Ontario, Canada. Dean says, try Iceland. Are you in Iceland, Dean? If you are, that is phenomenal. That is crazy cool. Hello, David Beck, who says, hail, and been finding my way in the heathen ways, watching my videos from the beginning of my channel. Wow, guys, I've been doing this for the last 2 years over. So Dean, or excuse me, David has been watching my videos from the beginning, which is tremendous. Thank you so much, David. Thanks for helping break this all down. Been reading more than you can imagine. That is awesome. Like, guys, I think one of the as I'm waiting for my wood burner to heat up, one of the things that we hear about within heathenry is that this is the religion or the faith or whatever of full of homework, right? And I think that has to, there's some weight that carries, but any spiritual path, right? Anything that you do, you should do your homework on, and you should understand what it is that you're reading and understand and learning about, and all that kind of stuff. So, but it is, heathenry has a lot of homework attached to it, and a lot of stuff that you're going to be reading a lot. You got 700+ Icelandic sagas. You've got the Poetic and Prose Edda. You got all the stuff that you're going to reading. But heathenry at its core, heathenry at its roots, exists on the ground, grassroots, on the ground sort of level. So Thank you, David, for commenting. Thank you, Nimki Bear, over here on the West Coast of the United States. What's up? What's up, man? It's good seeing you here. Unknown Survivor. Midgard was already international. Midgard is international. And guys, if you are here watching right now in the live stream, 12 live viewers as I'm counting right now, Unknown Survivor, checking in the house, checking in, guys, all the way from Australia. And I think the last live stream I did, I was trying to throw out my best Australian accent, and I probably did you a disservice, my good sir, and I apologize for that. But Unknown Survivor, guys, is literally in a totally different hemisphere. All right, we are approaching our spring and summer months over here in the northern hemisphere, and Unknown Survivor, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are approaching your winter months. So everything's flipped, right? Everything's all flipped over. But thank you so much, and not only that, guys, but like right now it is almost 8:00 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and if I am calculating my hours correctly, Unknown Survivor, you are already in the Thursday morning hours, the early morning hours of Thursday. So we got somebody from the future here for all the Northern Hemisphere folks, for all the North America folks, for everybody who's watching live right now where I am in North America, in those regions. We got somebody coming to us from the great beyond, coming to us from the future. It's really awesome, really cool. Lots of snow up there in the UP. Well, stay safe up there, Dean. Ontario. Oh wait, Nimki, you're Ontario too. For some reason, I thought you were in the West Coast, so I apologize. A lot of folks who I interact with and who I speak to, all over Midgard. I may mix up things a little bit, so I apologize in advance. But it's great to see you here. It's great to hear from you guys. My wood burner here in just the next minute will be fully heated up, and I get to start working on these runes, and then we get to read from our book. So, guys, if you haven't yet, right here, right, you see, subscribe to Midgard Musings is super important, and then right here, you see the Midgard Musings logo. Tell everybody that you know about it. Bring some new folks in here to join us on this Wednesday night, Woden's live stream. COVID-19 quarantine live stream, guys. It's going to be a thing. Probably going to be a thing here for a while. Everybody needs to stay safe, okay? So we got folks in Australia, the UP of Michigan, Northern Ontario. Hello, Dakota. West of Brisbane, Unknown Survivor. Hello, Mishka Valhalla, who says, love you, buddy. Mishka Valhalla, appreciate the love. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Lucky 13, sadly in Florida, Mishka. Be safe down there. I know it's rough in these times, and it's rough for everybody. But this is why I'm out here. This is why I'm out here, to hopefully take your mind off of the stress of the roughness of things. You guys are watching. You guys are here hanging out. We're about to burn some runes. I'm about to read you guys from some what's called Asgard stories. Right? You guys are just tuning in. Gonna do some rune burning and then read to you guys from this book, which is over 100 years old, based off of stuff from the lore. So thank you all for hanging out and watching. Let's see. You shall have luck and your woman, Mishka Valhalla. What more could you ask for, right? Woman by your side, the love of your life by your side, man, woman, whoever you are, whatever your inclination is, whatever the love of your life is, whoever the love of your life is, you have the love of your life by your side, and you have your luck, the luck that you've inherited and that you've gotten from your ancestors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go ahead and get started on the first rune. You guys ready? You guys ready for the first rune of the Elder Futhark? So we've got Dean, who says, "Sing the runes." Guys, I don't think you want to hear me sing anything. But this is the first rune. So this is Feu. Tell me down in the comments, guys, as you're watching right now, as we start this runic journey, right? Tell me what the value of Feu is, right? Feu, Feu, Feu. We can galder the runes. We can give magic. We can give life to the rune. Feu, Feu, Feu. Feu, Feu, Feu. When we speak the name of the runes, when we say the runes, when we galder the runes, we imbibe them with the magic. We galder them. We call them out. So tell me, guys, down below, the value of Feu, right? Feu, Feu, Feu. There's power in the name giving. If I had a drum, or if you were a shaman of any sort and you have a ritual drum, you can, beat. Feu, Feu, Feu. Feu, Feu, Feu. Feu, Feu, Feu. You see, you give life to the runes. You sing life into the runes. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you for subscribing. If you haven't yet, please do so. Subscribe to Midgard Musings. Share this video. Share it around. Get some people to join. Hello, Nikki Slusher. Turn the YouTube stream on, and your daughter Izzy wanted to say hi. Well, hello, Nikki Slusher, and hello, Nikki's daughter Izzy. Hail and welcome to the live stream. Thank you both for joining. In the middle right now, are actually just starting out and burning a new rune set, a new driftwood rune set for a client here in the Middle Tennessee area. So as I get this rune set burned, I'm going to show you the progress. It is a work in progress. Not everything that I'm going to show you right now is its final state. This is just like the infancy stage of things. But share with me, guys, down below, if you don't mind. We're working on Feu right now, giving life to the new beginnings, giving life to cattle, giving life to wealth. Because Feu is wealth. Feu is cattle. Feu, it is a beginning. It is the first rune of the Elder Futhark set of it. This is called Freya's it, right? So as we work on the runes, this is the unfinished version. Of course, it's going to be probably mirrored in the camera. But as I do this, as I work the rune and shade everything around, it's going to kind of make it pop out here on the piece of wood, and it's going to add more depth and texture to it. But there's Feu, wealth, family, and faith. Really good stuff, Dean. Grimfrost does have shaman drums, Austin, and there are plenty of other locally sourced places who will provide you with the materials to make your own drums. Unfortunately, I don't have that information readily available with me right now to share in the live stream, but there have been people who I've seen gather the materials, the framework, the skins, the leather, everything that they need to do to stretch and put it over that and make their own drums. Anything that you can make yourself is going to be so much more powerful in your ritual work. Got a little mead in the horn, drinking from the mead of poetry, Othrovir, right? Oh, the mead of poetry. Let me hit from the vape real quick, if you guys don't mind. Please excuse me, but to relax, chill. COVID-19 quarantine live stream. We're all here just chilling out. Got 11 people watching live. Thank you so much. All right, Nimke says, sorry, had to watch a puppy giveaway. That was important. Well, sure. I mean, a puppy giveaway? Like, first of all, who's giving away a puppy and why? Second of all, I hope that puppy went to a loving and caring home. So if you were watching it to make sure that it got there or it was received well and everything, then absolutely that is important. All right. Hey, Joshua Looney, welcome. Where are you checking in from? Joshua Looney, if you're still here, just recognizing you in the live chat, thank you for watching. Here in the middle, actually starting, working on a Elder Futhark rune set being burned into some driftwood for a client here in the Middle Tennessee area. I do offer rune sets as a way of sort of a gesture of service to the larger heathen community. I charge just a minimal fee of $20 in the United States or anything that is shipped domestically, which is all done through PayPal. So if you are interested in a rune set, I offer birch rune sets and driftwood like the ones I'm working on right now. They are $20, which includes shipping for all domestically shipped orders. I can give you my PayPal information. Just send me an email, midgardmusingstn@gmail.com, and I will reply back to you with my PayPal information. But right now, we are working on Urus. Which mead, Mishka? You said Viking blood. Let me show you. Let me show you what I've got here. Sorry for the disruption, but I just finished a bottle of Viking's blood. So interesting that you mentioned it. But I've also got some locally sourced and locally made mead from a friend of mine, and so it's a little bit of everything. Mixing a little bit of things, you know what I mean? I like the Viking's blood. The white bottle, can't remember what it's called, Dung Smeared or whatever it is. Same company, but it's in the white bottle. That's my favorite. But the stuff that's in here is a little bit of the Viking's blood and another locally sourced mead from a friend of mine, which does not have a name. The horn cup that you see here is from Alehorn. Shameless plug. I am not sponsored by Alehorn at all, by the way, guys. This was gifted to me as a birthday gift. This didn't come to me from them. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, but phenomenal craftsmanship, beautifully crafted stuff, very unique, highly recommended. So, Alehorn, if you're watching, holla at you, boy. Let's see. Joshua Looney, newcomer from Christianity, trying to do your best to learn how to be a better worshiper of the gods, and you are at McConnell AFB, and I'm assuming AFB is Air Force Base. So Joshua Looney, on behalf of myself specifically, and I'm sure if anybody's here who's watching understands the level of service that Joshua is providing to us as American citizens. Thank you, Joshua, for your service. Be safe out there, first of all. Really appreciate your dedication and interest of service to our country. Newcomer from Christianity, I actually am a person who was brought up in a Christian household, Christian values, and left that to pursue a path in heathenry. And as you said, be a better worshiper of the gods. I will offer you some maybe unsolicited advice, and I say advice in a very loose sense of the word, or suggestion is that don't come into heathenry in the same way that you were brought up in Christianity, okay? Because there is a totally different worldview connected with Christianity. Heathenry is tribal. It works best at the tribal level. So unless you were brought up in a Christian community that had its, core values to be surrounded and encompassing a community mindset, this will be a totally different worldview for you to approach. And then how you venerate or how you worship the sacred. That's going to be based on you. That's going to be based on how you do it, because everybody does it a little bit differently. But it's not, we don't, I say we, I'm not trying to speak on behalf of heathenry as a whole, but a lot of what our dealings with the sacred include are very personal in relationships, right? We're very focused on the gift giving cycle. So we're not so much stuck on hoping that our gods will reward us for our good. We are focused on building a relationship to add to our luck and add to the things that our descendants will draw from, because we are now pulling from our ancestors' luck. There's a very reciprocal, there's a very long cycle of events that happen. A lot of the videos that I've posted on my channel, Joshua, if you're a newcomer, check out my content, go to my page here on YouTube, go to my playlist section, just watch my videos, check out and see what I have to offer in terms of the information that I'm sharing with you guys. Just finish Urus. Okay, as we move along, Urus being the Oryx, the ox, strength, longevity, determination, passion, often associated with Thor. Okay, let me get caught up with some of the comments because I know I'm following way behind on that. Let's see here. Need to find a source of mead, says Jake. About to get your own supply if the shops are still open. Hope you do well with that. Let's see here. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. When family lose, they're gentle giants. There's a few members who, when they have puppies, donate one. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Nimki, for clarifying that. Love the animal babble, though. By the way, like don't apologize for it. I love hearing about, because a lot of what heathenry is about, right? A lot of heathens kind of adopt this animalistic mindset. We are. I'm actually in the middle of a series right now here on the channel about the parts of self, and or the view within the Norse culture of the parts of self, that we have various parts of ourselves, which can include an animalistic or an animistic part, meaning the philia, which is actually, I think, probably the next video coming up. I did the Homer and the Huger, right? The perceptive, or the perceived version of self, the part of yourself that you can change and use to travel the realms, and then your Huger, which is who you are, your actual personality, yourself, who you are as an individual. And then I think this next video is going to be on the philia, the animalistic, the follower, the part of the self that is animalistic in a way. So gonna be getting into that probably on Sunday's video. Let's move on in our rune burning escapades, right? Dean says have read all the lore, following your heart on its ways. Nimki Bear, as you can tell by his namesake, is he's a bear slowly devolving into a silverback gorilla, looking after his own pack of misfits. David Beck, Gefun rune. We are actually at the Thurs rune. Thurs or Thurisas. Gefun is going to be towards the end, right? Gefun being the gift, Gabo, Gefun. Not sure. You might be. I'm trying to think. Gefun, if that's the Anglo-Saxon name of that rune, but it is the essence of the gifting cycle, the reciprocal. It's an X. It literally just looks like an X, and it's the equal exchange of power, the equal exchange of the gift. So the gifting cycle is a very important part of heathen culture. I don't try to lump in heathen in the global sense, but the gifting cycle is definitely a important part of what we as heathens deem valuable, because our relationships with the sacred and our relationships with one another in our own respective heathen communities, our ties with one another are secured through the gifting cycle, right? Currently holding at 11 live viewers, guys. Please share the live stream. As you can see down here along the bottom of the screen, subscribe to Midgard Musings, and that is right up here. You can search Midgard Musings on Google, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. You'll see that bind rune. If you see it, follow whatever it is that you see. Just finished Thurisas. Thurisas is the thorn, usually associated with Thor, but it is the rune of the of destructive. It's a rune of defense, really. It has some destructive elements because it's such. It has that connection to the Thurs, which are the giants, the Jotnar, the Jotun in the lore, half of which Thor is, right? But it represents his hammer as well, in a sense. It has an imagery of representation of his hammer, which if you guys would like to see a couple of my ritual hammers, I'm happy to show you. Just let me know down in the comments down there if you want to see it. And I will be happy to share and show you. The next rune that we're coming into in the Elder Futhark set, the first Et, phrase Et, one of my favorite runes. It is protection, Dean, but it is a defensive protection, right? It's not so much a shield that it is the thorn. It's that proactive, just spearheaded action of defense. It's defense, but in a very offensive way. Mishka Valhalla says it gives power. Hair was said by certain dramatics as an extension of power. Oh, Joshua. So you were replying to Joshua's comment is, can I ask why the beard is important? Trying to make a request to your leadership to allow for your reasons. So Joshua, let me go into this. So I'm fortunate enough, or I like the aesthetic. I like the look of the beard, and quite honestly, like my beard's pathetic. I'm not able to. What I lack in facial hair, I have wonderful locks of hair on my head. So what I lack for in facial hair, I make up for in my head hair. But to answer your question, the symbol, right, the facial hair thing is a symbol of masculinity, which in Norse culture was like very important. Like you had to be, like the men needed to be manly. You know what I mean? There's really no religious or spiritual connotations to the appearance or the use of a beard, right? So I don't know, if you're in the military and you're trying to go to your COs or your leadership and give some sort of religious justification of why you should be able to have a beard. Some folks in different branches of the military have been able to successfully get that, but you're fighting an uphill battle. And it's not going to define you as a better heathen if you have or do not have a beard. Okay. I can tell you right now, I know very highly esteemed heathens who are clean shaven, short haired, look like they could be, put them in a suit, look like they could be CEOs of a Fortune 500 company or whatever. And don't fit into that, like Viking heathen demographic, whatever image thing you want to call it. But they are the best and most knowledgeable heathens that I know. And then on the other hand, you got a bunch of people who think that just because they got a great big long beard and long hair or whatever, and they put runes in their hair or whatever, that all of a sudden they're going to Valhalla or some craziness. So don't get too hung up on it. The whole thing about it is that it was a regionally viewed aesthetic, right? So a lot of the people in Northern Europe, Sweden, Denmark, Norway and stuff, the men just had this appearance. So I think that because of the regional aesthetic of it got lumped into some sort of need for modern day heathens to do it. You also look at the fact that one of the gods in the lore, who is quite often looked in a way that is less than favorable, who is Loki, is not viewed upon as very favorable in the lore, and he doesn't tend to have a beard in his physical representations. And I think that's a lot of the times kind of what gets mixed up in newer heathens is like, well, Loki's bad, right? Loki doesn't have a beard. All the other gods, Thor and Odin and all the major gods of the Aesir or whatever, they've got beards. Again, it tends to just be a aesthetic thing. Don't let it hang you up in your spirituality, and definitely don't get caught up in that rabbit hole. Don't go diving into this rabbit hole of trying to justify it in your leadership. You don't need to have a beard to be a good heathen. Let me read the comments real fast and make sure that I'm catching up on everybody. Hair is not important, like Dean said. Hair is not important. We are our deeds. The very most important thing that I could ever share with anybody watching my content, getting into heathenry, is that we are our deeds. Okay, Joshua, if you're coming into heathenry first from a Christian background, you want to understand the worldview, how heathens are viewing the world on a larger scale, where things are coming from, where things are drawn from. I encourage you to go to Lulu, which is an online like lulu.com, LULU. But if you just Google search for the book, it's called We Are Our Deeds, and it's by Eric Wodening. Okay, you can get the book for under $20 off of Lulu in a paperback edition. I have it up here in my library somewhere, and it is a very important part of understanding the arch-heathen worldview and ethics and worldview. So pick it up. It's called We Are Our Deeds. Use that as a sort of a blueprint to base your heathen growth on. Just finished Ansus, which is Odin's rune. As I said, very exciting rune of communication, rune of wisdom, rune of tell me down below what you guys associate Ansus with, but it is the breath, it is the verbal expression of communication, speaking to one another, transferring energy, transferring thought, transferring ideas, all that type of stuff. So Ansus has just been completed halfway through the first set of it. And then once we get done with that, we're going to get into, I'm going to read you guys. So the sooner I get through this, the sooner you can listen to me read to you guys from the stories of Asgard. All right, let me check down through the comments and catch up with everybody. 9 people watching. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Dean is bald, right? So again, hair doesn't really matter. Hair doesn't matter at all. Hail the gods and goddesses indeed. Happy to clarify for you, Joshua and Joshua Wintermute. So we got Joshua Looney and Joshua Wintermute. Joshua Wintermute, if you're still here, hail and welcome. I'm not sure if I formally welcomed you to the live chat. A lot of people down here, got a lot of stuff going on here on the COVID-19 quarantine live stream. Had to think about what I was going to call it. It's the COVID-19 quarantine live stream. Everybody's hunkered down. A lot of us are on either locally or regionally or statewide or whatever mandated lockdown. It's crazy times, everybody. Right now it is about going on 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, starting the Raido rune. Guys, tell me down below in the comments as you're watching Raido. Can you tell me the first thing that comes to mind for Raido? I'm anxious to hear what everybody says. So comment down below what you guys think is Raido. Okay. I know Dean just said there, Loki is Odin's brother, and in the lore, yes, he is Odin's blood brother. As a matter of fact, Odin in the lore will not drink or will not partake in drink unless Loki himself is welcomed and invited in the partaking of said drink because of their connection as blood brothers. So there are parts of Odin that we encounter as his character that makes you wonder, why was Loki the one to be sworn to Odin as a blood brother? It's an interesting thought. So Raido, everybody, Raido. Continuing our journey, there's a little bit of a hint. Travel, Joshua Wintermute. Yes, travel is one of the things that come to mind. Your favorite rune. It has a lot to do with travel. It has a lot to do with our journeys, both physical and spiritual, in their own respective right. So Raido is a journeying rune. Raido is the rune of journeys. It is a rune of travel. You're absolutely right. Intrinsically, at its surface level, Raido, it is the ride. Even sounds like it, right? We say Raido, ride. The cart, the wagon, the transportation. So Austin asked a curious question. What would be the best way to get into a trance? With the help of shamans, or should I try by myself? Austin, you asked the question as I burn the Raido rune. So the Raido rune, as you ask your question, will help you travel, right? Because it is a traveling rune. It is a rune to use for travel. If you think about this rune, if you meditate on this rune, if you galder this rune. When I say galder, I mean you can speak it, right? Raido, 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 Raido. You see, you speak it, you galder it, you trance, you speak it in a sort of rhythmic, sort of cadence type of way, and this can aid you in your travels. The way I see it, anyway. Anybody else that's watching that wants to comment down below. Almost 40, Joshua Wintermute, and in your early years, traveled the U.S. and the rune was always with you. Getting stoned alone, no travel. Well, guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, Austin, you're asking about, be the best way to get into a trance. A guided trance is going to be the best way. If you have no experience in it, and if you have no prior exposure to any sort of trance work, you may want to be careful. But Raido can help you travel the realms. Raido can be the carrier. Raido can be the cart that you ride in. Raido can be the catalyst that drives you forward, right? Which leads us into our next rune, okay? Because what is one thing, I'm going to ask a question to everybody that's watching. What is one thing that we need when we are traveling? We need to be able to see where we're going, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, but if we are traveling somewhere and we don't know where it is, we don't see the road ahead of us, if we don't have a clear visibility into the path that we are traversing, right? What could happen? We could get lost. We could lose our way. So the next rune that I'm burning right now is a continuation of the Elder Futhark set. And I think it is an important progression in this series. Because the next rune, anybody wants to go down here before I reveal? Before I sort of let the cat out of the bag, as you will? Raido definitely came to you today, Mishka. Got some traveling you're doing, got some journeys that you're heading on, got some paths that you're needing to ride along. Guys, tell me down in the comments right now if you want to, or if you can, what we need to be able to see the road ahead of us. What is one thing that will be giving us visibility into the road that we're traveling along Raido when we're in that journeying state? That way we don't get lost in the dark. Here's a hint. Don't want to get lost in the dark. 13 live viewers. We want wisdom. We need wisdom. Wisdom has already come to us. Wisdom has come to us in Ansus, right? We've reached this journey of the road in the Elder Futhark set where we've reached wisdom through Ansus. We've reached that level of communication, and now we are starting our journey. We've obtained that knowledge. We've obtained that wisdom. Unsus, 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 raido, 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 raido. And now we go, we traverse, we ride along our journeys. And what do we need? Guys, we need light, right? We need illumination. We need a torch. We need a torch to light our way, and we need kenas. Kaun in the younger food archetype, but kenas, right? Kenas is the torch, and it points in a way that illuminates in front of us. Kenas is the torch that illuminates, and it is the rune that guides us in our journey, right? That we just started on in Raido. It illuminates the way ahead of us. It is not a destructive fire. The torch is an illuminating fire. It is the light that shines the path before us so that we don't get lost. Okay? And where are we going on our path? Where are we going on our journey? A clear mind and a clear day. Hello, Bug Brain. Not sure if I've seen you in the comments before. You just joined. If you have, hail and welcome. Be sure to, guys, check out, subscribe to the channel. We're here in our COVID-19 quarantine live stream, hanging out. Got a cup full, or actually a horn full of mead, burning some runes. Going to be reading to you guys, and just 2 more runes. As soon as I finish this first set of it, going to be reading to you guys from the stories of Asgard. So fill your cups, fill your horns, skull. We have our next rune that we're going into. We've already lit the torch. We've galdered in kenas, right? We've galdered in that illuminating light. We're calling in the sacred to light our way in areas of darkness, right? Exactly. Skulking around, Bug Brain. Well, welcome. The light has shone. Kenas has illuminated the way, and we now see you. So welcome to the live stream, and thank you for commenting. So, guys, when we go forth in our journeys, and when we illuminate our paths, when the light shines in front of us, right? When we see clearly ahead that it's not just us out here. At one time, we were riding in the dark, and now the light, the kenas, the torch, has given us some sort of illumination. Now we see that there is more than just us, that we are not isolated as we once thought we were. And now, to maintain a healthy relationship with the world around us, in order to maintain a healthy and useful existence in Midgard, we must recognize, right, that Gefun, the gift of life, the gift of existence, the equal exchange of power, comes to us and we give it out. So there's this equal exchange of energy in the universe. There's this equal exchange of existence. Right now, everybody, we are in a time where our Earth, our mother, Jord, the planet that we live on, Midgard, our realm, is in a healing process, right? It's in such a healing process that it has caused us to return inward, and has caused us to maintain a level of isolation, which we'll be getting into in the next set of it. But Gefun, the gifting rune, the equal exchange of power, exists for a reason, and it exists to maintain balance. You see how equal it is? It's just an X. Does it matter how you put it, how you face it? It's an equal exchange of power and an equal exchange of energy, right? Nikki Slusher says, I've been having visions of your path lately and need more illumination. Well, the light shines, the torch blazes and illuminates that way. So focus on that if you need to. If there's any cloudiness, if there's any darkness, if there's any shadow, focus on kenas. Galder kenas. Speak it into the void. Speak it into the sacred. Call on the power of that rune. and the energy that it carries. The Gebo's gift in self-sacrifice. Sacrifice is an equal exchange quite often, but it requires us to, again, like you say, Dean, is to give of ourselves, gift of ourselves, as Odin gifted of himself to himself on Yggdrasil, right? He hung for 9 days and 9 nights, gifting himself to himself, sacrificing himself to himself, the ultimate expression of Gebo. Nikki, I do believe that Kanos can help. And I think the answer has come through, even though your daughter hit the button a little prematurely. The answer has come through. So Bugbrain says, what is a good rune for growth and preparation? Planting your garden soon, and along with your offerings, like to incorporate some runic energy into the gift. I will tell you that working with your garden, working with the earth, working with agriculture, I have personally found it very good to work with Feu. Feu being the F rune, being the exemplary expression sound of the F, which carries with it the weight of the name Freyr, Lord Ing, fertility, newness, fertility, right? There is power in here, and there's wealth in here. So when you're looking to focus on wealth, focus on bounty, focus on a good harvest, Fehu, I have found, has been a good rune to use in the magical aspects of your garden workings, along with other ones. But Fehu is a good one. So I would perhaps use Fehu, Bugbrain, to answer your question. And now we come into the final rune of Freya's 8. The first 8 runes of the Elder Futhark set. There are 24 runes in the Elder Futhark set. We just finished getting into the gifting rune, Gebo. We understand that in order for balance to be sought, in order for balance to be had, there has to exist a equal exchange of energy, an equal exchange of power, whether it be with us in our communities or whether it be with us in the sacred, that we have to have that existence. We have to have that balance. And Dean already commented because he knows where this is going. So spoiler alert, we are getting into Wunyo, the gathering of happiness. And that is exactly what happens when you focus on the equal exchange of energies, the equal exchange of power. You will experience a joy and happiness between you and those who you deal with and work with, that you are harvesting and reaping the joy of working with one another. It has nothing but good things to bring with it. And it is one of my favorite runes to work with when love, in times like this, when love feels a little bit, I don't know, stuck in the dark. Like we don't feel it so much. We feel a lot of folks feeling depressed, feeling sad, feeling worried, feeling anxious. This is a rune of joy, and it is called Wunyo. And the rune Wunyo is a rune of joy. It's a rune of happiness. It's a rune of harvest of love. And it finishes the first set of it. The first it. So we have the first 8 runes that we've worked on: Fehu, Urus, Thurisas, Onsus, Reido, Kenas, Gebo, and the Wunyo. And in the next set we will work on is Hemdal's It, which introduces a lot of various stronger, powerful, some runes of destruction, some runes of necessary chaos and necessary destruction. So before we get into that, I'm going to first of all take a drink, take a draft of my mead, take a pull from my vape, and then I'm going to read to you guys a story from this book, which I spoke of earlier. So Everybody who's watching, still have 9 live viewers. Appreciate you hanging out in this COVID-19 quarantine live stream. Hail. Thank you all so much for supporting Midgard Musings. Stick around. We're going to have a good time for the rest of the night. Oh, yeah. Let me read up on some of the comments. Let's see. Bugbrain says, primary that I offer to and good thought. So primary to Freyr. He is also one who I like to work with in my individual pagan practices is Freyr, because our ancestors are, or were, I should say, people of the land. Agriculture was a very important commodity. If you didn't grow it, you didn't get it, sort of thing. And Freyr, being a Vanir god, is a god of the not of the warrior class, right? So you have a lot of agriculture and stuff tied with him. And I loved working with Freyr. Loved working with Freyr in my own rituals and my own pagan practices. And there are other runes that I associate him with at the end of the Elder Futhark set, which I won't be able to finish tonight because I don't have enough driftwood. I have to go out and raid or harvest or whatever I need to do to get more pieces. But I have enough to finish the second et. Okay. I'm gonna take a little stretch, you guys. If you've been quarantined, if you've been stuck inside and you are working from home, or if you haven't been able to get out, it's important, you guys, get up, stand up, stretch, do some push-ups, walk, get outside, like breathe the fresh air. All that is very important right now. You got to maintain your health, maintain your vitality. Don't think that just because of whatever's going on that you can't go outside, right? Breathe fresh air, breathe the free air. Walk around. Be careful, but you can do it. You can be out there. Okay. It's okay, Dean. Dean says he's getting ahead of me. It's all right. I'm going at a slow pace here, and there may be some folks here that are like Dean here, jumping the gun. But I appreciate it. I love the feedback. Everybody that's watching that wants to offer the feedback, I love it. So thank you, Dean. Thank you, Bugbrain. Thank you, Nikki, and everybody else who's currently on. Total of 10 live viewers. I am having to look down because the thing that I'm using right now doesn't give me a live update on the comments. But I appreciate each and every one of you. You see it right here, right? It's coming out. What is it? Right there is subscribe. I'm having to go the opposite way. Subscribe to Midgard Musings. You see it. Where am I at? Where am I? Where is even anything right now? This thing right here, right? I can't even, like, what is even going on? It's everything's mirrored right now. I don't even know what ends up. Directions are not even a thing. Midgard Musings. Know it, love it. Subscribe, share it around. Appreciate all your support. We're going to get into reading a story from this book. It's called Asgard Stories, and it is a Foster and Cummings thing. I'm going to show you guys. It's really cool because it's been around for like over 100 years. So there's a lot of awesomeness that's tied to this thing. All right. Runes on your body. Dean and Bugbrain says, Dean also says that I have a great podcast. Well, thank you, Dean. Thank you. This platform right here that I use, primarily YouTube. If you go to any other videos that I do on a published scale, like a published level, I have a link tree that is that shows you what other ways that you can support. I have Patreon, I have PayPal, I have merchandise. Excuse me, the meat is speaking back. Merchandise through Teespring. I have T-shirts, onesies, men's, women's, children's sizes, sweaters, hoodies. If you guys are looking, head over to my videos. The videos that I've already published is a Linktree thing already down in the description of all of my videos. And if you click on any of the links that are in that Linktree site, you'll see I got merchandise all the sales that, when you buy something, I get a percentage of that. If you buy my rune sets, of course, that helps support the channel. So if you become a patron on Patreon, there's benefits to that. You get shout outs at the end of all my videos. Your name appears in the end credits and all that kind of fun stuff. So there's all that type of fun stuff that you can get interactive with Midgard Musings in these crazy times. But the most important thing, guys, and it costs you nothing, because I don't want people out here to like spend money that they don't need to spend on stuff that they are, if it's not essential, right? First of all, you need to spend money on things that are going to, support your hearth and home, right? So you need food, you need supplies, you need all that type of stuff. Don't worry about spending money on anything over here. But what costs you nothing, what is free for you, is to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, share the videos, because if you're watching this right now, you've got social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. This YouTube channel, if you share it on any of your social media platforms, people will see it, and it drives traffic here. That costs you no monetary dollars. It's free. It's like literally seconds every time. So that is one of the most important things that you can do, is just share it all out there, share the content, get more people to come and be a part of this thing, because we're stuck inside. A lot of us, right? I've been working at home now for, this whole week, and a little bit the week before, but no end in sight, right? Is there really any light at the end of the tunnel? We don't know. So we've all got challenges that we're facing. Take care of you and yours. And while you're here stuck in quarantine, while you're sitting here watching everything, share the videos around, get everybody involved. Like the thing at the bottom of the screen says, subscribe to Midgard Musings. It's greatly appreciated. All right. I already know what everybody's thinking. I already know what all 9 of you are thinking that are watching right now is, shut up, Jesse. Shut up and read the story. Shut up and do some more wood burnings. Shut up and do something good talking about your channel. I get it. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day. We're ready to move on. We're ready for the weekend. We're ready for this whole thing to be over, guys. It's a maniacal, crazy time. All right. Dean's going to be here. His wife is asleep. Joshua Looney, let me just read through the comments, because I love reading the comments, guys. So if you give me like 2-3 more minutes, maybe, I'll get to reading the thing. Let me read through the comments. Joshua Looney, I was called to heathenry by my feelings of purpose, the belief that our destinies are preset. One thing that I didn't feel from Christianity is the feeling that I exist for the purpose of serving. Farming and hunting, says Austin Caldwell, is the best way I can put it. I am good at conveying my thoughts into text. Thank you, Joshua Looney, for conveying your thoughts into text in a very clear way. I get it. We exist. I exist. I'm just going to put it in real terms, right? So here for the next few minutes, let me just, in response to Joshua's comment, let me just say this, okay? I exist. Okay, and what everybody else thinks is their own thing, but I exist to build on the luck that was given to me from my ancestors and provide a strong base for my descendants to inherit when I'm gone. Right? This whole idea of, existing to serve, the best leaders, the best people who are most honored and most respected are the best servants, because leaders will serve their folk. Leaders will serve their communities, and leaders will serve their people before they serve themselves. Before and ahead of themselves, they will make sure that their folk and their people are taken care of. Every community leader, every organizational leader, every professional whatever leader that I know of makes sure, the best of those types of folks make sure that they have their people taken care of. And it's not about a subservient, I am, bowing down to some supreme sky god who doesn't have any sort of tangible reality to me. No, it's the fact that we serve to better our folk and to better our community and to better the existence of people that come after us. Because let's face it, I'm not always going to be here. You're going to be watching this video long after I'm dead and gone. And I'm going to be here in this sense, in this form, because this video is being recorded and it's being projected into the internet. But after my physical sense is done, when all this is out of here, have I left something? Have I left something for the people ahead of me to glean from and draw from and do anything good with? So we serve the greats. We serve, and we do so in a way that will build the future of our folk and the future of our community, right? So it's not in the same sense of what you come from in like Christianity, where you're subservient. You are like almost like a slave to a supreme God or a supreme deity. Is we are servants because we want to see our folk become better. We want to see our people excel. We want to see the community. We want to see everything become great. That's the best way that I can say, or the best way that I can put into words, and into Joshua's comment and my response to it. Okay. All right. So I went way over the 2 or 3 minute thing. Knowledge is free. Let's go ahead. Asgard Stories. Foster and Cummings. It is a Silver, Burdett and Company publication. All right. And as I said, this book came to me as a gift with or from my Gothi, the Gothi of my tribe, the Hluridgi folk tribe here in Middle Tennessee. So Asgard Stories, Tales from Norse Mythology. Authored by Mary H. Foster and Mabel H. Cummings. There are some illustrations, and the publication company is Silver Burdett out of New York, Boston, and Chicago. Now, here's the really cool part, everybody. I'm not sure if the cameras will be able to show you. You see that name? You see that? Do you see that? It says 1901. Do you see that? 1901. Do the math real quick. Do the math. How many years ago was that? I already know. What is it? 119? 119 years ago. If I'm wrong, you can kick me. Over a century ago, right? This book was published by a company with content from authors that are over a century old. Now, is everybody else's mind blown as much as my mind is blown right now? Because when I was gifted this, when it was given to me, this book has been maintained and retained within a certain family for the largest part of 2 generations. And it was gifted to me outside of their familial circle. So I feel extremely honored and extremely blessed to have been gifted such an important thing, because it's been tied to a family for so very long. So the webs of that family are now tied to mine, right? 119 years. Damn. Quote that. Put that in your quotation marks. Jake says 119 years. Damn. I fully agree with that sentiment, Jake. The foreword, it says, to all our children who have loved the hearing of those Asgard stories. So there is so much weird tied into the words, into the pages of this book. I mean, if I could, this isn't a very thick book. There aren't, it's not a very deep, it's kind of thin. But if I could relay to you the amount of weight that this book holds, the amount of density that this book carries would blow your mind. Like, this book is heavy because of the weird and the energy that is tied with how many hands this book has passed through, with how many words have been spoken from this book that have entered into the ears of so many children and so many people over the last century plus years. Absorb it. Think about it. And I'm about to read to you now a story from this book. So consider yourselves privileged. Okay? Here's an illustration. Here's an illustration of Odin. Okay? One of the first things you see when you open it up. And there's a preface. We're going to go past that. We're going to go past the table of contents. And we're going to read now a story that starts at the beginning. Because we are in a time right now that is pulling us back to the beginning of things. And the beginning quite often has to be looked at because death has to occur first in order for the beginning to take place. There's a cycle, right? There's a cycle that takes place. Death must occur, and then the beginning is reborn. There's a rebirth. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the story of the beginning. Fill your horns. Fill your glasses. Take a bathroom break. Stand up. Stretch. COVID-19 quarantine live stream, guys. Don't be stuck on your butts. Don't be stagnant. Get up. Stretch. Okay? I've been doing it all day. Been doing it all week. Get that blood flowing. Keep yourselves healthy. Focus on your health first and foremost, okay? Thanks, Joshua, who says, definitely feel that you're not subservient to your fellows, but feel that you are if your service to the gods is keeping others safe, stand and hope that you get what you want. The book's a lot of knowledge. Dean says, Dear Gothier passed away. Well, hail, and may the eternal rest of your Gothier be peaceful in the halls of his or her ancestors. All right, folks. If everybody's ready, okay, if everybody's stretched, stand up, stretch, right? I'm going to read the story and we'll get into some more wood burning. So, the story of the beginning. The people who lived long ago in the far-off lands of the north watched the wonderful things that happened out of doors every day, just as we do. But they did not know about the one loving God, who is the Father of all, who made them and the world and rules it by his wise laws. So they thought there must be a great many unseen powers living in the clouds and the wind and the storms and the sunshine and doing all those wonders that no man could do. And so these northern people, who were our own forefathers, came to believe in many gods. One for the sun, another for the thunder, another for the flowers, and so on. In the long dark winters, when the bright sun had gone away from them, these Northmen had time to think many thoughts about the powers of frost and wind and storms, which they called giants. And they used to tell stories and sing songs about the short, bright summer, the thawing out of the streams and lakes, the coming of the birds and flowers. With great joy, the people saw the bright sun god, Balder, come back to them in the spring after the long darkness, and knew that they owed their lives to his friendly warmth and light. As we read the stories or myths told by these people long ago, we can see that they were meant to tell about the world among us. At first, the stories were told and sung from father to son, that is, from one generation to another. But later, when people learned how to write, these myths were written down and kept with great love and care. This is the story they told of the beginning. At first, before living creatures were in the world, it was all rough and without order. Far to the north, it was very cold, for ice and snow were everywhere. Toward the south, there was fire, and from the meeting of the fire and the cold and thick vapor was formed, from which sprang a huge giant. On looking about for some food, he saw a cow who was also searching for something to eat. The ice tasted salt, and when the cow began to lick it, a head appeared, and at last the whole figure of a god stood before her. From these two, the giant and the god, came the two great races of giants and gods who were always enemies to each other. The giants were constantly trying to break into Asgard, the home of the gods in the sky. The gods, on the other hand, watched and planned to keep out the giants and to drive them back to their own stronghold called Utgard. Our world, where men and women lived, was between Utgard and Asgard. It was called Midgard. And around this Midgard world, under the ocean, was coiled a monstrous serpent, who grew so long that his tail grew down his throat. He was called the Midgard serpent. A wonderful tree named Yggdrasil connected all the worlds. This great ash tree had its roots in Utgard, and the tops of its branches reached up so high as to overshadow Asgard. Its three main roots were watered by three fountains, and near one of them sat the wise giant Mimir, of whom we shall hear later. The Norns, three sisters, also lived at the roots of Yggdrasil and were careful to see that it was watered every day. A little gray squirrel was always running up and down the tree, jerking his tail and hurrying to tell the news to everyone along the way. He was so anxious to be the first one to carry the news that many times he brought trouble to himself and to others because he was not always careful to tell a story just as he had heard it. And often, everyone would have been happier if the squirrel had kept his story quiet to himself. The gods and goddesses all together were called the Aesir. The chief and father of them all was Odin. His lofty throne rose high in the midst of Asgard, the sacred city, which the gods had built for their beautiful home. From Asgard, arching over and down to the lower world, was a rainbow bridge called Bifrost, the Trembling Bridge. Upon this, the dwellers in Asgard could travel every day, all except the mighty Thor. His thunder chariot was too heavy for the Trembling Bridge, so he had to go around a longer way. After the gods had made men and women and had taught them to dwell on the earth in the world of Midgard, Odin looked forth one morning from his heavenly seat to see what further work was waiting for his helping hand. He noticed far below him a race of small beings, some of them busy doing mischievous deeds, while others sat idle, doing nothing. Odin sent for all these little people to come to him, and when they had reached Asgard and were admitted to his palace of Glodsheim, they entered the great judgment hall, where they found all the Aesir sitting, with Father Odin at their head. I'm just going to stop real quick and show you folks a image in the book of the Norns. It's an illustration in the book of the Norns. So, carrying on. The little people waited in a crowd near the door, wondering what was going to happen to them, while Hermo, the messenger of the gods, ran to his master to say what they had done, or to say that they had come. Then the All-Father spoke to the little dwarfs about their evil deeds amongst men, and he told the magnificent ones that they must go and live down underground and look after the great furnace fire in the middle of the earth to keep it always burning. Some must get coal to feed the fire, and others still were to have charge of the gold and silver and precious stones under the rocks. Not one of these busy dwarves must ever appear during the day. Only by night might they venture to leave their tasks. And now, said Odin, turning to the idle ones, what have you been doing? We were doing nothing at all, so we could not have harmed anyone, and we pray you to spare us, cried they. Do you not know that those who sit idle when they should be doing good deserve punishment too? Said Odin. I shall put you in charge of all the trees and flowers, and shall send one of the Aesir to teach you, so that you may be doing some good in the world. Then the little elves went to work among the flowers, and Freyr, the bright god of summer and sunshine, was a kind master to them. He taught them how to open the folded buds in the sunshine, to fill the honey cups and lead the bees along the flower passages to find their food, to hatch the birds' eggs and teach the little ones their songs, and then each night to fetch the water for dewdrops to be hung on every leaf and blade of grass. When their work was finished and the moon had risen, these busy elves and fairies enjoyed many a happy evening, dancing and frisking on the green by the moonlight. And so our world of Midgard was filled with busy work and play. Even now, in our times, the people in the lands of the north and in Germany have many old sayings and stories that have come down to them from the days long ago. There is a beautiful white flower in the north, which is called Baldur's Brow, because it is so pure and bright, like the face of the dear sun god. Balder, and in some places where the farmers gather in their harvest of grain, they leave a little bunch of it standing in the field for Father Odin's horse. We have some English names to remind us of these old tales and of our forefathers, for we have Tuesday, named after Tyr, or Tu, the brave god who gave his right hand to save his friends. We have Wednesday, or Woden's Day, named for Odin. Thursday for Thor, the thunder god. And Friday for either the goddess Frigga or Freya, or for Freyr, the god of summer who ruled the fairies. And that, my friends, for everybody watching right now, is this first chapter, the story of the beginning. We get a little bit of a idea of what was happening in the lore, and it's definitely not an all-encompassing, what happened at the beginning with Odin and his brothers and Ymir and but we heard a very broken down version. I think it's very family friendly. I think it's really cool for the kids. So there's that. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Let me read the comments as we progress on into our rune burning steps. Let's see here. Thank you, Dean. Says, glad I'm putting this out. Got your beer, Dean. Awesome. What book is this again? Joshua. Again, I'm not sure how or where anybody might get this, but this is a book that was gifted to me. It's called Osgard Stories. This book is over 100 years old, nearly 120 years old. Okay. Nikki Slusher says, love the creation stories. This one and the Native American ones talk about the giant turtle with the world on its back are my favorites. Yes, it's awesome. Awesome. All right. So I have enough pieces of driftwood to continue on for the next 8 runes in the next set of it. So I'm going to be drawing the runes and then burning the runes. Let me know down in the comments with our 7 live viewers what your thoughts are so far. Share it around. Let me know. And we will get this rune set worked on. First of all, after all that reading, I need to whet my whistle. So if you need to whet your whistle, go ahead and do so right now. Skull, thank you guys for watching. We've been going now strong for quite a while. Quite some time. Losing live viewers. It's all right. It's getting late. It's getting late in some parts of the world. Down to 6 live viewers. We got up to, I think, about 12 or 13. Maybe people get bored listening to stories. It's okay. Share the video around, everybody, right now, since we've been out here for over an hour. Share it around and let your folks know that we are still going live, still going strong during our quarantine live stream discussion, burning some runes, reading some stories. Might read another story before the end of the night. As a matter of fact, I will. Let me get through this. Let me get through this next set of 8. Let me get through this next set of 8. Okay, so we got now these. Let me get through this next set of 8, and then I will read another story. Everybody loves a good story, right? What are some of your favorite stories spoken about in the lore? Let me know down in the comments. I've actually done a little bit of a storytelling part of this channel called Bragi's Corner, where I read my own take of the lore. I'm not reading verbatim like I am right now, but I'm yeah, so here's the story of, Grimskvida or whatever, and this is my version of it. I'm going to speak and read the story out in my own way, or the story of, when Thor, Harbudsvilth, when him and Odin, Odin as Harbard, is arguing across the fjord, and he's trying to get across, and it's, that whole thing. I did one of those. So there's that. Tell me your favorite story in the lore down in the comments. Because I'm anxious to hear what everybody is. It was right. I'm anxious to hear what everybody's favorite stories of the lore are. Got almost halfway through this next set of it. Talking about more runes, guys. You guys ready? Go ahead and stand up, take a bathroom break, whatever you need to do. And we will get into some more rune discussions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more runes for this set of it. Jake says that everyone's spoken version slightly changes every time unless scripted, and your favorite is learning about other heathens and slight differences. Austin says how Thor dressed as Freya to get his hammer back from the giants. That's my favorite story too, man. Thrymskvida, right? Where he goes to Thrym's Hall and he wakes up. I did a really fun rendition of that story, guys. If you go to my channel and you go to the playlist section, go to the videos that are maybe not right now, but just as like put this in your memory banks, right? Go to my channel's playlist section and go to the Broggy's Corner playlists and listen to or watch my version of Thrymskvida. And let me know what you guys think, because I personally like that version that I spent on it, because I added a little bit of modern, I made it to be where, like, the reason why Thor lost his hammer, right, is because he'd been out drinking all night celebrating his victory over the onslaught, or the victory over slaying all the giants, right, or the Jotnar, and he was drunk because he's Thor, right? Thor's the party guy. Thor's the party animal. Thor's just the party animal, big brother, like just reckless endangerment, just handling the business, doing all the craziness. And my rendition of that story was he'd been out all night, slept through an all-night bender, and woke up and the hammer was gone. And it was a valuable lesson, right? It was a lesson of you are not all you are vulnerable. You just can't ever be too careful. So let me know what you guys think when and as you get a chance to check that out. All right, let's get into the next set of it. No rules, I heathen. Dean, I don't know what you mean by that, like no rules, I heathen, but whatever. All right, folks. So we ended Freya's 8 with Wunjo, Wind of Joy, and now we start Heimdall's 8. So can anybody down in the comments that's still watching, all 8 viewers, anybody who is still here who hasn't left, thank you for sticking around. But if you're new and if you're watching the live stream new, please comment down below. Would love to know that you're here and what your name is. Let's see. David Beck says the Loki, Loki bound and the serpent and his wife catching the venom. It proves a strong man has a strong woman by his side. Yeah, so you're talking about the fact that Loki was the cause, right? Like he was the one who caused the death of Balder. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for the Aesir. They said, you know what, Loki, we're done with you. You've done what you've done to the point of causing too much chaos, too much problems, and you are now bound as punishment, more or less. It's an interesting thing, right, in the lore. We see a lot of various influences coming to us from probably Christian sources. Yeah, but the one you're talking about, David, is where Loki gets bound and he suffers the poison dripping on his skin, and Sigyn, his wife, has to hold the cup, and when the cup overflows, she has to step away to empty the cup, empty the bowl, and the poison still drips on and tortures Loki. And it is said in the lore that when that happens, when the poison overfills and she has to step away and it drips onto Loki, that he shifts and he rustles and he's riled up, and that's what causes earthquakes. So let's see here. my question is, guys, we are starting to burn the first rune of Heimdall's It. So tell me what rune that is, if you are so inclined, and what it means to you. We are, again, starting the first rune of Heimdall's Et. Got 7 more runes to go. And this is a commission piece for a fellow heathen in the Middle Tennessee area. Somewhere around Nashville or so. I'm not exactly 100% sure. But this is an important rune to discuss, guys. I'm anxious to hear your feedback. So again, starting Heimdall's It. Dean says cold, and Dean says Isa. This is actually not the first rune. It is the third rune of Heimdall's Et. But there are elements of what you're saying right now, Dean, that probably have to do with this rune. So we are in the first rune of Heimdall's Et, and it is not Isa. Anybody else? I'm just done burning it. Anybody else want to chime in before I share? All right. You guys tell me what this rune is? Hagalaz. There you go, Dean. Hagel, which is what? The hailstone, the hail rune, the necessary storm, the storm that comes to destroy with the intent to rebuild. There's a reason for the Hagel to come. There's a reason for the storm to exist. Hagel is destruction, but it is necessary destruction to bring in new life. Now, when we say what I just said, you guys want to repeat it. The hailstorm is necessary to bring in new life. Anybody want to chime in on the key word that I just said in that sentence? Hagalaz is necessary to bring in new life. As we travel through our runic journeys, Hagalaz is necessary to bring in new life. What is the key word that you're picking up on in that statement? Dean says now these. So Hagalaz is necessary to bring in new life. And that is the next rune, which is now these. Now these is the need. Now these is the need. Fire. Now these is necessity. Now these is necessary focus. There is a need that is being called upon when now these is seen. So remember before, guys, when in the first set of it, when we drew Kenaz, when we made Kenaz, it is the illuminating light. It is the fire that illuminates towards knowledge, the path that we are traveling to seek knowledge. Kenaz illuminates the way. Now these is a different kind of fire. Now these is the fire up under your ass, if I can put it that way. Right? Now these is that necessary, like, spark that sets you off in the direction. It's the storm has caused its necessary. There is a storm that leads to necessary, needful action. Right? And it's interesting because if you look at how now these and Hagalaz are shaped, there are similar shapes in the runes, right? You see the angles and everything. There's a part of Nauthiz that exists in part of Hagalas. So there is a need to focus on something coming from a period of chaos, period of radical change, which is Hagalas. All right. Don't worry about it, Dean. Don't apologize, guys. No worry about apologize. We're having fun. At least I hope we are. The 8 of us that are still live watching, thank you so much. You guys are true champs. So after the need, after the fire, after the burning desire, the necessary change, where do we sit? Where do we need to be? Where do we need to focus? Where is our need central? Where's our need centralized? From the fire comes steam. And in that steam, in that stasis, in that stillness, comes the very, very basic essence of self. Isa, ice, stillness, stasis, focusing inward. This is where we are, people. This is where a lot of us are right now, because we are in quarantine, we are in isolation, we are in a point of our lives that focuses on isolation. Isa. We have to focus inward. We have to focus on ourselves, right? The earth is healing. The people of the earth, the people of Midgard need to stay put in order for Mother to heal. She is self-medicating. She is self-healing, and we need to stay put. We need to stop all this craziness. We need to stop all this action, right? Absolutely, David. Isa. All right. The next one that we are coming halfway through our runic journey. And this is the last set of it that we'll be working on tonight before I read one final story. Once we focus on ourselves, and once we take time to focus on ourselves, there is something that happens, right? We can't force it. We can't make it happen when it's not ready to happen. Has anybody ever grown anything? Any folks here watching? I think maybe Joshua was one of them who grows things, right? Grows a garden, grows something, and you can't cultivate a crop until it's ready to be harvested, right? Can't do it. Why not? Because it hasn't reached its fruitfulness yet. It hasn't reached the end of its growth. There's still time that needs to take place in order for growth to happen, right? If you try to, I don't know, if you're growing vegetables, if you're growing a garden and you pick your crop too early, right? It's not going to be any good. It's not going to be any good, and it's going to suck, and it needs more time to grow. So after the time that is spent on focusing on the internal growth, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Austin's a rookie gardener, and David's a master gardener. So what happens, guys? What happens when you spend time on your crops? David, who's the master gardener, what happens when you spend time on your crops? Are you able to harvest your crops before they're ready? No, you're not. You're not able to reap the reward of your crop. You have to wait for the harvest. You have to focus first before reaping the reward. And that is what Yera represents, the next rune in this set. Halfway through Heimdall's Et. Yera is the harvest. Yera is the reward. It is the rune that represents the time to draw in the work that you've put into your crop, right? The work that you've put into yourself, the work that you've put into everything. It is now time to draw. It is now time to reap. It is now time to harvest. Okay. All right. So moving on. Holding 8 strong in the live stream, which is tremendous, guys. We're going here now for what? Over 2 hours? Going on 2 hours? You guys are holding on for 2 hours on a live stream on this COVID-19 quarantine live stream. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now live and everybody that's wanting to join live. Share the live stream. I still got probably 30 minutes left on this live stream. Want to get everybody that's able to and willing to watch to be a part of this. So share this stream around, get everybody in. Got about 30 minutes left, I would say. Let's move along on this runic journey. So we have reached the point of harvest. And what is one thing for the master gardener out here who's watching? What is one thing that harvesting something brings about? I think it was David Beck out here watching live. Appreciate you, sir. Self-proclaimed master gardener. What happens when something is harvested? If you're still out there watching, offer your so things happen, right? We're pulling something up, we're taking something, and we're also providing something. So there are 2 elements of the cyclic, series of existence. So David, you may not be there, but I will go ahead and offer my interpretation of what happens when things are harvested. When the time comes for us to harvest, we experience a point of life and death because we are harvesting, right? We are reaping, which can be perceived as a period of death from the product. We are reaping it from its source. We are taking it from the ground from which it lives. We reap, and then the results of our reapings, the results of our harvest provide life. So there is life and death, which is Aiwas. Aiwas is life and death. Aiwas is a combination of life and death. And there is a necessary part of this that exists in our personal existence. There are parts of us that live on, and there are parts of us that die in our growth, but death is not the end. Death is the beginning or the restart of a new journey. So Aiwas is a very important rune that meets a little bit past halfway in this next set of it. Feast and party. End and everything new. So we've reached Aiwas. And now we have 3 runes left for this set of it. And that will conclude the rune burnings for tonight before we go into our next story. And then after the story, that will conclude the live stream on this channel. So you guys and gals and folks everywhere all over the world, holding strong at 8 live viewers. Really appreciate it. Share it around. Get some more people in here for the next, like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so. It's going to be awesome. Got a really cool story lined up for you, but we are in the final few runes of this set of it. So we just did Iowa's, the existence of life and death together. We absorb life and death. We embrace life and death together because death is not an end. It is a continuation of our existence. And now we go into something that is quite unsure. And can anybody tell me out here who's watching still what that unsurety is? What are things that we just don't know? There's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things that we want to know, but there's a lot of things that we just don't know. Odin himself seeks, the knowledge of things that he may not have information on. And so we reach the rune Perthro. Now, Perthro is an interesting rune in the Elder Futhark set because Perthro, everything that we've seen thus far, right? We've seen runes that represent sounds, right? Feo represents the F sound, like farm. Urus represents the U sound, as in like under, umbrella. Thurisas represents thunder. Onsus represents the soft A, not like angle, but more like the soft A sound like you would see in I'm trying to think of a good word. Anybody want to help? Awesome, like the first A in the word awesome, like awe, like you got that awe sound. Of course, Raido is R. Kenos is like the K sound. Gabo being the G, the hard G, like in golf. And then Wunyo being that sort of wonder, like the W value in wonder. We got Hagalas, which is the H sound of hail. Now these being N is in need. Isa being the I in ice. Yera representing that sort of year. The letter Y is in year. And then I was being this sort of a vowel value. Now we get into a rune that has no specific linguistic value because the literal meaning of Perthro is a mystery. Like it has no linguistic value or linguistic connotation. So it is quite often, through most scholars, associated with a mystery, the unknown, things that we don't know. And for a lot of rune casters, the shape of it represents the base of a cup. So we hold it, and it represents the base of a cup, the cup that holds the lots that are cast to determine the fates of many and all. So there is mystery, and it is quite often, at least in modern terms, associated with the Norns because of the uncertainty and because of the unknown. Okay, so there's that. 2 runes left to go. 8 runes, 8 live viewers. Very, very interesting observation there, Austin. And thank you for all the 8 live viewers that are sticking around. I got 2 runes left to go. Appreciate everyone's. Yes, David says like it's Perthro, hidden things. Really appreciate everyone's time that you're spending here. We're gonna finish up here. One of the runes that I'm doing right now, or this next rune, sorry, that I'm doing right now, is one of my favorite runes. So after Perthro, anybody out here wanting to chime in with the next rune in this set of 8? It is my favorite rune, and it is one of the runes that I have seen some connections with of things that I'm not quite 100% sold on. Like I read earlier, Feo is quite often connected to maybe Frigg or Freya or possibly Freyr. Ansus being tied to Odin because of the distribution of knowledge, wisdom. Thurisas and Urus being Thor's rune. This particular rune, this next rune, has some connotations connected to some sacred elements that I'm not quite so sure I buy into. I have my own understanding of what this runes means, but if anybody wants to chime in below, where are we at? Algies, there you go. David Beck called it. So you're absolutely right. Algies. So Algies is a phenomenal rune that I love working with in my spiritual practices for many, many reasons. Now, in modern times, and for a lot of newcomers into the runes, you will probably see this rune being associated with a heightened spiritual sense. Quite often is associated with Valkyries for some reason. Not exactly sure why, but the symbol, the symbol of Algies is a representation of a body, an erect body with arms outstretched. So it's almost like you're standing there, and I can't quite get it in the camera frame, but you're standing there like with your arms outstretched. This position, this representation of the rune is quite often used in ritual for a lot of heathens, myself included. But I love this rune, and I bind myself with this rune quite often when I am involved in public ritual spaces. I will mark my face with Algies. And the reason that I do this is because Algies is a rune that is quite often associated with protection and guidance, or not, excuse me, guidance, but guardian. And I associate this rune specifically to Heimdall, the watchman of the gods. I'm not sure if anybody else watching right now would agree with me, but Algies, I think, is Heimdall, whatever you want to call, whatever your pronunciation is, Heimdall's rune. And it is a rune of protection. It is a rune of not like a protection like Thurisas is, where it's more of like this is more like the shield. This is the shield wall. This is the preventative entrance. Like you're not getting past this. So if I'm trying to bind and protect an entrance, I will use Algies as the root of the bind. I will use Algies as a protective root rune. All right. I love Algies. I will bind myself with it quite often in ritual work. I have marked a lot of sacred space. The outside of that sacred space I've marked with Algies. That is a rune that I love working with in my pagan practices. So that's my own little addition to this whole thing. And now we finally get into the last rune of this set of 8. Okay, you guys tell me what it is. David nailed it so far with the rune after Perthro, the rune that we just talked about. Heimdall is the bridge watcher, and I absolutely love working with him. My Gothi, who I am brothers with, he's a Heimdallsman. Time, guys. Time is something that we can't get back when we lose it. And Heimdall is a watchman. Heimdall is the patient one. He is the one who can hear things that others cannot hear and can see things that others cannot see. And he takes the time. He is vigilant. He is patient. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding Heimdall, which I find interesting. The progression of the Elder Futhark said that rune that I associate him with comes after the rune of mystery. So we are finishing up Heimdall's It. Where are we at? Got one rune left to go before I read you our final story for the night. Anybody want to tell me? Still holding strong at 8 viewers. Guys, wow. Amazing. Like, I know that doesn't seem like a lot. Like for some people, like, oh wow, 8 live viewers and woo. But like, no, like to have 8 people just stick around consistently for this length of time means the world to me, and I appreciate it. So I've got this last rune that I'm burning. Seagull. Yeah, David's got it. So he's naming the rune in a way that's just a different name for the same rune, but Seagull. Sowilu is the same name, or just a different, I guess, pronunciation, different, depending. You might be just whatever your inclination of heathenry comes from. Some Anglo-Saxons will have this rune appear. Some other Norwegian or some other Germanic pagans will have it, but it's Sigil Sovilu. Looks kind of like an S. And this is the final rune of Heimdall's Et, and it is the rune of the sun. It is the rune of victory, success, light coming at the end of things. So we are seeing a brightness appear after the storms have come and after the mystery has passed, and out of our darkness comes light, right? So this concludes this particular set. I have to actually obtain more material to finish it, and I'm not going to be able to do it here live with you folks tonight. But the final set is Tears Et. This finishes Heimdall's Et, and it is Sowilu. So, before I end the live stream, I'm going to, if you guys don't mind, just read one final story. And I want to take a moment to, first of all, thank everybody who's been hanging out with me tonight for this COVID-19 quarantine live stream thing. Really appreciate the support here on the channel. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, share. It's all down here on the screens, right? Let people know about it. People are stuck inside. People are quarantined. People are just on lockdown, pretty much, right? And they're getting it. Things are getting crazy. Things are getting wild and nuts, and people don't know what to do. So here we are, just hanging out in the middle of the week. I've got to work tomorrow. Fortunately, I do have a job that I can go to. But I want to hang out here with you folks, people who are stuck indoors and people who are doing things. So thank you for hanging out with me for the last few hours. I'm going to go ahead and just read the final story of the night. Let's take a look and see what it is. Oh, that means so good. Don't forget to stand up, guys. Like, stand up, stretch, right? Twist and shout. Keep that blood flowing. Don't stay sitting down on your butts all day. If you are kind of like, I don't know, homebound, quarantined, whatever, don't let that be an excuse for you to just be stagnant, okay? Thank you, Joshua, who says it was very informative. Learn more about the runes here than on Google. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stuff out there on Google that can be misleading. And this is just one heathen's perspective, guys. This is my perspective on things. So what you do with the runes, what you pick up from learning from the runes, as you decide to pursue this path in heathenry, if you decide to follow the steps of learning the runes, you're going to learn things on your own, just as I have over the last several years. So as a reminder, I do offer rune sets like this. These are driftwood pieces. If you go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Midgard Musings. I don't know. If you go to Facebook, just search Midgard Musings, you'll find it. Go to the photos section and you'll find pictures of the finished product. Unfortunately, I can't show you these, but this is just the raw burned version. I'm going to have these all shaded and finished up. But thank you guys so much for watching tonight. Let's finish off the live stream with another story from Asgard Stories. Guys, I hope you liked what I've delivered thus far tonight. I hope it's been fun and educational and just kind of like takes your mind off of the BS that's going on around the world. I want people to enjoy their time living right now. Be safe, be productive, be healthy, but don't forget about living life and just living it to its fullest, right? Um, so while we're holding on for the next few minutes, the next story that I'm going to be reading from this book is called Odin's Reward. All right. So one night when Asgard all was quiet and the Aesir had gone to rest, Odin, the Allfather, sat awake on his high throne, troubled with many thoughts. And this is something that we see happening with Odin. He's troubled by his thoughts. He's weighed down by his thoughts, right? At his feet crouched his two faithful wolves, and upon his shoulders perched the two ravens of thought and memory, who flew far abroad every day through the 9 worlds as Odin's messengers. The Allfather had need of great wisdom in ruling the world after thinking a long time on the matters which needed his ears, or which needed his care. Why did I say ears? It needed his ears too. He needed to listen, but that's what thought and memory are for, right? Anyway, they needed his care, and he suddenly started up and went forth with long strides from his palace of Gladsheim into the night. And he soon returned, leading his beautiful 8-footed horse, Sleipnir, and it was plain that Odin was going on a journey. He wanders, right? The wanderer. He quickly mounted Sleipnir and rode swiftly away toward the Bifrost, the rainbow bridge, which reached from Asgard, the city of the gods, down through the air to the lower worlds. When Sleipnir stepped upon the bridge, it trembled and seemed hardly strong enough to bear the horse and his rider. But they had no fear of its giving way, and Sleipnir galloped swiftly onward. Soon, Odin saw Heimdall, the watchman of the bridge, riding toward him on a fine horse, with a golden mane that reflected light upon the noble face of his rider. "You must be bound on some important errand, Father Odin, to be riding forth from Asgard so late at night," said Heimdall. "It is indeed a most important errand, and I must hasten on," replied Odin. "It is well for us that we have such a faithful guardian of the trembling bridge. If it were not for you, Heimdall, our enemies might long ago have taken Asgard by storm. You are so watchful. You can hear the grass grow in the fields and the wool gather on the backs of the sheep, and you need less sleep than a bird. I myself stand in great need of wisdom in order to take care of such faithful servants and to drive back such wicked enemies." They hurried over the bridge until they came to Heimdall's far shining castle at the farther end of it. This was a lofty tower which was placed so as to guard the bridge, and it sent forth into the land of the giant enemies such a wonderful clear light that Heimdall could see, even in the darkest night, anyone who came toward the bridge. Our boy Heimdall, right? So here Odin stopped a few moments to drink the mead which the good Heimdall offered him, and I will do so. I will stop and drink the good mead. And I encourage you to do the same. Then said Odin, "As I am journeying into the land of our enemies, I shall leave my good horse with you. There are not many with whom I would trust him, but I know that you, my faithful Heimdall, will take good care of him. I can best hide myself from the giants by going on as a wanderer." With these words, the Allfather quitted Heimdall's castle and started off toward the north through the land of the fierce giants. During all the first day, there was nothing to be seen but ice and snow. Several times, Odin was nearly crushed as the frost giants hurled huge blocks of ice at him. The second day, he came to mountains and broad rivers, often when he had just crossed over a stream. The mountain giants would come after him to the other bank, and when they found that Odin had escaped them, they would send forth such a fierce yell that the echoes sounded from hill to hill. At the end of the third day, 3 days, guys. 3 days he's going on. At the end of the third day, Odin came to a land where trees were green and flowers were blooming. Here was one of the 3 fountains which watered the world tree, Yggdrasil. Nearby sat the wise giant Mimir, guarding the waters of this wonderful fountain, for whoever drank of it would have the gift of great wisdom. Mimir was a giant in size, but he was not one of the fierce giant enemies of the gods, for he was kind and wiser than the wisest. Mimir's well of wisdom was in the midst of a wonderful valley filled with rare plants and bright flowers, and among the groves of beautiful trees were strange creatures, sleeping dragons, harmless serpents, and lizards, while birds with gay plumage flew and sang among the branches. Over all the quiet valley shone a lovely soft light, different from sunlight, and in the center grew one of the roots of the great world tree. Here, the wise giant Mimir sat gazing down into his well. Odin greeted the kind old giant and said, "Oh, Mimir, I have come from far away Asgard to ask a great boast, or sorry, a great boon." A boon is this like request of sorts, right? "Well, gladly will I help you if it is within my power," says Mimir. "You know," replied Odin. I lost my place. Sorry. "You know," replied Odin, "that as father of the gods and men, I need great wisdom. And I have come to beg for one drink of your precious water of knowledge. Trouble threatens us, even from one of the Aesir, for Loki, the fire god, has lately been visiting the giants, and I fear he has been learning evil ways from them. The frost giants and storm giants are always at work trying to overthrow both gods and men. Great is my need of wisdom, and even though no one ever before has dared ask so great a gift, I hope that since you know how deep is my trouble, you will grant my request." Mimir sat silently, thinking for several moments. And then he said, "You ask a great thing indeed, Father Odin. You are ready to pay the price which I must demand? Are you sure now?" "Yes," said Odin cheerfully. "I will give you all the gold and silver of Asgard, and all the jeweled shields and swords of the Aesir. More than all, I will give you my 8-footed horse Sleipnir, if that is needed to win the reward." "And do you suppose that these things will bay wisdom?" said Mimir. "That can be gained only by bearing bravely and giving up to others. Are you willing to give me a part of yourself? Will you give up one of your own eyes?" At this, Odin looked very sad. But after a few moments of deep thought, he looked up with a bright smile and answered, "Yes. Yes, I will even give you one of my eyes, and I will suffer whatever else is asked in order to gain the wisdom that I need." We cannot know all that Odin bravely suffered in that strange, bright valley before he was rewarded with a drink from that wonderful fountain. But we may be quite sure that never once was the good Allfather sorry for anything he had given up or any suffering he had borne for the sake of others. And that, my friends, concludes the stories for tonight. Maintaining our following of 7 to 8 live viewers during this thing. And that, my friends, is one of the most intriguing and important stories of the lore, right? We read about Odin's seeking for knowledge and seeking for wisdom. And he went through great battles. He went through great trials. He went through great difficulties to even get to the point of being given the opportunity, much like we do as mortals. Like we go through so much. Many of the new heathens that are coming into this path are, wrought with difficulties. And these are the battles that you face along the way. And then you finally reach a point where you're ready to sort of take the plunge, do things that define you as a heathen, I guess. It's all very metaphorical, and this is my own idea of it, right? But when you are ready, when you get to that point, and that version of a mirror that you face is demanding something of you, are you ready to give what is needed to obtain what you seek? I reached that point along my pagan path. I reached that point and I was ready, and I gave of myself to receive the information and to receive that knowledge. And it wasn't an end, right? Like that wasn't like once you did it, that was it. It was once you did it, you've cashed in, and now you're in it. You're in it to win it. Like I said earlier, you're in it to win it, and now you got to drive forward. So everybody that's watching, let me just catch up on the comments. Thank you, Nikki, who says, thank you for explaining the runes. Really found this informative and helpful. Really gave a better understanding. Would definitely help. Ask from the Kenaz rune. And Joshua says, when will I stream again? Joshua, I'm not 100% sure, but if you have subscribed to this channel, okay, and if you have the bell notifications turned on, you will be notified the next time I do. I'm not sure if it will be again this week. But with this whole like quarantine thing, it might be like I haven't normally done live streams like this in the past. I usually just upload weekly videos, but this is a fun interactive thing that gives me the opportunity to work on the rune sets. So to answer your question, Joshua, I'm not sure, but please keep your subscriptions turned on and your bell notifications turned on. So that way, whenever I do, I'll try to do it like in the later parts of the night, later parts of the evening, to get more people to join. This was a lot of fun, guys. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well. I hope you enjoyed the stories that I read. I hope you enjoyed the rune, progression of the runes thing. Really had a fun time tonight. It's been a long stream. This is probably one of the longest streams I've done on this channel. Don't want to underestimate the power of the subscription, guys. Subscribe to Midgard Musings. It's been going all here. Let your friends know. Everybody who's been watching, I know there's not been a whole lot of live viewers, but I'm sure the live viewers who are watching can share this and let their folks know. So please let your people know. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Let all your heathen folks know to subscribe to Midgard Musings. And then right here, if you go to like YouTube or Google and just search Midgard Musings, you're going to see this thing going, this bind rune right here, right? You're going to see it populating all over the internet. At least I hope so. So follow me on Facebook at Midgard Musings. Subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for the next video, which I hope to publish here on Sunday, which is a continuation of the parts of self. Really enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight. It means the world to me. So thank you, everybody, for your support. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Don't need to say it. Let me raise my horn to you, everybody. Let me raise my horn of mead to everyone who's stuck around for as long as you have. Really means the world to me. Love it. Appreciate it. Skull, hail to each and every one of you. Let me take a draft in your honor. All right. Well, you guys stay safe. Most importantly, stay safe. All right. If you don't have to go anywhere, then don't go anywhere. Stay healthy, stay safe. Don't forget to get out, get some fresh air, walk around. Be safe, be healthy. All right. That's all I ask. So thank you all again so much for watching tonight's live stream. Really appreciate everyone's interaction and hanging out with me. Hail. And I'll see you guys in the next live stream.